And welcome back to Atreyu News. Journalist records computer getting hacked while investigating Benghazi. Flashback. Obama administration illegally hacked into journalist Cheryl Atkinson's computer and she filmed it live. Let's take a look here.
A warning, right?
Right in, going right to voicemail, not being able to communicate. What is it about?
I was crafting questions. The wiping was at this hyperspeed that some have falsely said can be duplicated with a backspace key holding it down.
You're watching your computer. Somebody's operating it.
And I was working on questions, and really a couple of pages of material just wiped very fast within a matter of a couple
What was the topic? What was
seconds.
it about?
I was crafting questions for an interview with Ambassador Thomas Pickering of the Accountability Review Board.
On Benghazi.
And I found that I could only stop it if I put my thumb on the mouse pad. And I could pause it, but as soon as I let up again, more stuff would wipe. It wasn't something I couldn't recreate. This was described to me by the experts who looked at it afterwards as an attempt to let me know they could do that. And this was many months after 3 separate computer forensics analyses had said there were these remote intrusions in my computer.
And you also had problems with your phone, with it clicking off, dialing right in, going right to voicemail, not being able to communicate. It became a joke with your friends. What were you thinking during this entire time?
Well, I certainly wasn't thinking it was the government, because this was before all the revelations. In hindsight, that it's a little easier to draw conclusions, especially with forensic evidence. At the time, I thought the phone was just messed up until I had sources approach me and say that they thought the phone sounded tapped, but the kind of tap they want you to hear. Because, of course, if the government or some entity wants to tap your phone, you'll never know it if it's done properly. But sources I have say that kind of activity could be an indication that they actually wanted you to know.
Isn't that creepy? Imagine like surfing the net on WikiLeaks or something, and someone hijacks your computer system, is watching you, listening to you, has control of your TV, your phone, your car, all your smart tech. It's a very interesting world we live in, especially with the WikiLeaks coming out with number 7 Volt. All these things are really happening. It's not a joke anymore. Sean Spicer addresses bomb threat. Spicer denounced latest bomb threat to a Jewish center. Saddening, I have to continue to share these disturbing reports, he says.
Announce these latest anti-Semitic and hateful threats in the strongest terms. It is incredibly saddening that I have to continue to share these disturbing reports with you, and I share the President's thoughts that he fervently hopes that we don't continue to have to share these reports with you. But as long as they do continue, we'll continue to condemn them and look at ways in which we can stop them.
It is strange. I bet for the alt-right or people with like a supremacist ideology, isn't it strange how we now have a common enemy? Jews and Christians. Fascinating. Although I would not condone a war fought in the name of Israel, like some of these wars in the Middle East, and even the First and Second World War had hints of it, that a part of it was in fact a war for Israel. Although they'll never come out and say that, that's exactly what it is. And although I couldn't condone a war for Israel, this is a war for the world now. Allies unite. Bad news for Hillary in New York. Look at that picture. That is brutal. If that's not photoshopped, then I thank God she didn't win, because look at that. Only 23% of New Yorkers want Hillary Clinton to run for mayor. The latest rumor floated by Hillary Clinton's boosters is that she could be eyeing a run for the mayor of New York City. But if the former Secretary of State is considering such a campaign, a new poll may disabuse her of that notion, as most respondents say they do not want her to run for office. Yeah, good call. I would almost praise her for running, because I know exactly what would happen. It would be so good for the Republicans. But at the same time, you don't want this woman in power of anything. She abuses everything, and everything she touches either turns to shit or it just gets destroyed, which I guess is pretty similar. With rumors of Hillary run for the Big Apple's mayor, Ramsden polled 1,000 likely voters and asked them if they liked the idea, but 58% of those responding did not want to see Hillary Clinton go from losing Democratic presidential presidential nominee to New York City mayor candidate. Further, only 23% felt that the one-time New York senator should run for mayor. 19% who responded to the telephone and online survey had no opinion on the question. Yeah, I have a pretty good idea that 19% they were just being nice. You ever hear that saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything? Yeah, they pleaded the fifth on that, guaranteed.